Hi, dear students. Today we will learn how to use 991 EX calculator to solve problems related to the normal distribution. For this purpose, we have chosen question number 3 of October number 2024 paper of S1 A levels. So what is the statement of the question? So in this question, they are saying that in Molimba, the heights in centimeter of adult males are normally distributed with mean 176 and standard deviation 4.8 centimeter. Now in the A part, they are saying find the probability that a randomly chosen adult male in Molimba has a height greater than 176 centimeter. And in B part, they have given us that 60% of the males have a height between 176 centimeter and k centimeter, and we are to calculate the value of k. So let us see how we can solve this question. So what is given? It is given that x is normally distributed with mean equals to 176 and standard deviation equals to 4.8. Now what is required? So in the A part, we need to calculate probability of x greater than 170. Now, since this x is normally distributed, but it's not a standard normal variable. So first of all, what we will do, we will basically convert this x into a standard normal variable, which is represented by z. For that purpose, we will subtract its mean from it, and then we will divide it with the standard deviation. So hence it will be converted into z. So now if we subtract x minus mu divided by standard deviation, then it is converted into z. Now the question is basically probability of z greater than minus 1.25. Fortunately, probability of z greater than minus 1.25 is equals to probability of z less than 1.25. So we can write it like phi of 1.25. Now, how can we calculate this probability? Either we can use tables to calculate this probability of z less than 1.25, or we can use our calculator to calculate probability of z less than 1.25. So for that thing, let us basically see how can we use our calculator. First of all, we will basically reset our calculator. For that thing, we will basically do a simple procedure, and now it's in the normal mode. So first of all, we will press the menu button, and then we will select the 7 button to basically select the distributions. Now since we are to calculate the probability of normal cumulative distribution, so we will choose option number 2. So we will press the 2 button. Now we need to calculate probability of C less than 1.25. So our upper value is 1.25, and for a lower value, we can arbitrarily take any big value. For example, if we take minus 10 as our lower value, and since we need to calculate probability of z less than 1.25, so our upper value is defined, it is 1.25. And since in a standard normal distribution, standard deviation is always 1, so we don't need to change it. And hence we get the probability, which is basically 0.8944 up till 4 decimal places. Okay, so let us go back and see that in the A part, what was our answer? So in the A part, the answer was the same, that is 0.8944. Okay. Now what about the second part? So in the second part, we need to find the value of k. And what was given? We were given that probability from 170 less than equals to x and x less than equals to k is basically equals to 0.6, sorry. So now if we want to calculate the value of k, again we will apply the central limit theorem to convert the question from a normally distributed variable x to a standard normal distributed x variable, which is basically z. So for that purpose, we will subtract the mean 176 from 170, and then we will divide the resultant from 4.8. And similarly, from k, we will subtract the mean 176 and we will divide the answer by 4.8. Now, this question is basically converted into a question of standard normal variable, that is capital Z. Now, since it is from minus 1.25 to k minus 176 upon 4.8, so what we can do, we can apply an identity so that we can write it like phi of k minus 176 upon 4.8 minus phi of minus 1.25 equals to 0.6. Now, since phi of 1.25 we calculated in the A part as 0.8944. So phi of minus 1.25 is basically 1 minus phi of 1.25. So since that was 0.8944, so if we subtract 0.8944 from 1, we get 0.1056. Okay. So hence we are left with phi of k minus 176 upon 4.8 minus 0.1056 equals to 0.6. Now, obviously, this 0.1056 will be brought to the right hand side and it will be added in 0.6, and hence we will get 0.7056 on the right hand side. Now we will take phi inverse, and when we will take phi inverse, then definitely we will get basically uh, an answer. But how to calculate this phi inverse of 0.7056? Basically, phi inverse means to find a number whose probability is 0.7056. So for that purpose, again, we will use our 991 EX calculator. And this time again, we will press the menu button, then we will press the 7 button to select the distribution, and this time we will basically select the inverse normal. That is basically the third option. So hence now we need to calculate basically the inverse normal mod. So what was the probability? It was 0.1056. Let us just confirm. So it was uh, 7056. Okay. So we will basically put in area 0.7056. Okay. And hence we will get 0.454 as an answer up till two decimal places. So you can see that our answer is 0.54 till two decimal places. Okay. Now, obviously, we will do the simplifications. This 4.8 in the denominator on the left hand side will be multiplied with the 0.54 on the right hand side. And then we will basically this add this 176 to the right hand side, and hence we will get our final answer as 178.6. So you can see that we have calculated probability of C less than 1.25 as 0.8944 from our 991EX calculator. So from our 991EX calculator, we can calculate the normal distribution probabilities. Similarly, it has a very important feature that it can also calculate the inverse mod or the numbers related to a certain probabilities. Like in this question, we calculated that the number related to the probability 0.7056 is basically 0.54 up till two decimal places. So this is a very important feature which is not available in other Casio calculators. So I will highly recommend you to use this calculator. Now, what about that? How can we calculate the same probabilities from our normal distribution table? So for that thing, if you recall that in the A part, we calculated probability of C less than 1.25. So for that purpose, what we will do, you can see that 1.2 is written here and it is highlighted by me. So we will choose the row with 1.2 and then we will choose the column with 0.05. And the intersection of the row of 1.2 and the column of 0.05 is basically 0.8944. So you can see in this way, we can calculate the probability of 1.25 as 0.8944 from our normal distribution tables. Similarly, you can see that we calculated probability of 0. The number of probability 0.7054 as 0.54. So what happened that if you will search in this table, you can see that I highlighted 0.7054, which was the closest probability of 0.7056. And then what I did basically that corresponding row of this 0.7054 probability is zero point 0.5, and the corresponding column of this 0.7054 probability is 0.04. Hence, we got that the inverse normal of the probability 0.7054 is basically 0.54. So that was all from my side. Inshallah, we'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and Allah Hafiz.